This hangout is now live.
Woohoo. All right, ladies. Thank you so much for being on our Sunday night monthly Google Hangout. This is so much fun to see all your faces. So, if you can leave your picture up, because then I know you're alive. Otherwise, I can't tell if you're there or not. And so, even if you don't have to look perfect, nothing, just so I can see your faces. And because our guest speaker is not on right now, I do want it to be interactive, so I would love for you guys to give me some feedback tonight too. So I thought what would be good is to go off of our boot camp we started last week and kind of build off of what we were working on last week. And that was tracking numbers. And so I wanted to hear from you guys about what numbers you track in your Mary Kay business. I hear some background noise. Is that you, Stacy?
Hey,
Probably. I have my headphones
can you
on.
mute yourself?
Okay. So, so I want to hear about numbers that you track so that we can talk about. Okay, so in Mary Kay, we know a tracked number grows, right? And every week I always want to be my best and get my best numbers. So we have to be really sure that we are always tracking those numbers. So you can unmute yourselves if you have no background noise around you, but make sure you tell me like what numbers you track and why, because then we can go through and figure out, maybe you'll hear from another consultant what you should be tracking, or maybe like a new idea. Okay, so yell like some things either on a weekly, monthly, yearly, like what do you guys track for yourself? Daily?
The amount of faces that you do in a given week, month.
Okay, good. That's probably one of the most important ones. What else? So number of faces. Okay, it's a sheet. Okay, mom tracks tax information. Okay.
Monthly.
Money. Okay,
Month.
monthly tax stuff. Okay. What else?
Number of calls that you do during a week.
Love it. Yes, number of phone calls. So, like, I know Angeline always has her bubble sheet she can pull up. So, tracking how many phone calls, right? Because sometimes we're like, oh, we're going to give you bookings. And then you're like, well, I only made 2 calls. So, probably need to make more than 2, right? All right, what else? What else do we track? If you had a boss in Mary Kay, what else do you think they would want to know about you? If you had to like report to somebody for your business.
How much you sold?
That's a good one, yeah. Your weekly sales and then your total monthly sales, okay? Because we were talking about how do you know when you have your best month ever in Mary Kay? How do you know, right? So
True.
you'd have to be knowing, tracking your numbers every month to know what your best month is. So if you know your best month, like if you sold $4,000 in October, your goal for November would be 4,001, right? Always beating it. Okay. What else?
Anything you give away to like hostesses?
Oh, good. Yes. Because we don't want to give our whole store away, but tracking what we give away for gifts to our hostesses for hosting party, and then also if you're doing like a table at a vendor event, you guys usually are giving away like a nice basket or products, right? So keep track of all of that. Good. What else? We talked about faces, money, taxes. What else? Phone calls, you said, Stacy.
I write down whenever I do an event or go to my weekly meetings.
Okay. So maybe mileage and time spent. And then there's sometimes like your $4 meeting fee that we have. Or any, like if you do a vendor table and it's $30, keeping track of that. Okay.
And like delivering product.
Okay. Delivering product, that's a good one. That
That's
adds up
more fun.
quick.
It does.
Yeah. Another one that Mike just yelled out from the other room. Thanks, honey. Interviews. So tracking how many people you're interviewing in a week or in a month, right? So by an interview, we mean a guest to a meeting, or if you have coffee, or they watch a video about Mary Kay. Okay, good. And we talked about last week too is our date book, and that at the bottom here has like all this little forms down here for tracking down here. So this is what it's used for, right? So there's lots of extra things that you could track, the orders that you do, right? Because it says wholesale order. And then the last one that I have on there that I track daily, this is a daily thing I track, and that's the number of bookings I got a day. Kind of related to what Stacy said as far as how many calls, those should relate, okay? And mentors before me have always said track your numbers so you know how many calls you have to make to get a party booked, right? So when I was new, I would have to make 20 calls sometimes to get one party booked. Now I can make about 5 calls and get one party booked. So your numbers get better, but that's because it took me 8 years, okay? So don't be nervous if your numbers aren't there yet. It's that you get better as well, right? So, but do you know what your ratio is? How many phone calls do you think you have to make to get a party booked? Right? And if you have your bubble sheet, then it tells you in black and white, and that's why I think I like the bubble sheet. It's not necessarily, I mean, it's nice to track how many phone calls, but it really to see, you get to fill in a bubble every time you get an appointment booked. So I really feel like you could go back and count how many bubbles and then how many bookings, and that's your ratio. Yes? So that, I like those because you'll know your numbers. Make sense? Same with interviews. Mary Kay tells you 1 in 5 signs up, right? That hears about Mary Kay. Again, when I was new, my numbers were like 1 in 20. And the better I got at sharing about Mary Kay, then my numbers got closer to 1 in 5, if that makes sense. So don't be discouraged on those numbers when you're new. It's that you'll get there, but it's in the practice, right? That knowing, to be realistic, to get into your red jacket, how many people would you have to interview when you're brand new? I feel like you have to do almost double to get there, unless I'm helping you, of course, right? But to do that on your own, because it takes you a while to get those skills to say the right words, if that makes sense. Yes? So in the month of November, what will be interesting, if you're willing to track your numbers, is to find out what your numbers are. That you can see how many phone calls you make. You can see how many bookings you get. Okay, and in November, how many new team members do you want to get? So you know how many interviews you might need to do to get the number you want. Okay, so you kind of have to work backwards. So Stacy and I decided this month we're both going to gold medal, which is crazy. So if any of you want to be crazy with us, that's 5 team members in a month. Right, Stacy? We're going to do 5 this month. That means we have to do a minimum of 25 interviews to do that. And that's if we're really good at them. Okay, so we might have to do like 30 just in case. Okay, so those are big numbers, right? So 30 interviews in a month averages about 5 interviews a week that her and I need to be doing to keep up with these numbers. Okay, so when we fall behind in a week, then we can catch up the next week. All right, so knowing those numbers, I can work backwards to decide how many interviews I'm going to have to do to get the results that I want. Makes sense on tracking? We focused a lot on numbers last week and with our boot camp of tracking our sales, weekly accomplishments, weekly plan sheets, IPAs, income producing activities. Do you guys have any questions from this past week about any of the numbers and the tracking. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Anything? It all made sense? You guys are pros at this. I think it was some of the newer people that were on our team that Thursday night, they're still, I could see their heads still spinning a little bit. So, so we're gonna stick with them, right? We're gonna learn these numbers. But you guys see the importance of tracking, yes? All that good stuff. Okay. The book we're reading right now, I want to talk about. I still really love this book, The 7 Decisions. Why I like it so much is it has an affirmation at the beginning of every chapter. And one of the things that stood out to me was the word action. And the word action goes throughout this whole book. And so there's like a theme of just action, of just staying in action in life. Like whether it's for Mary Kay or for other parts of your life, that staying in action. And so in actually chapter, what is this chapter 1? Yeah, chapter 1. It just says, I'm a person of action. Okay, so here. Oh, chapter 3, I lied. Okay, so chapter 3, a person of action, and I really love this chapter. So I want to talk with you guys about staying in action. And you know, I was trying to think about why I can't ever turn off my Mary Kay, like in my head, if you can relate to that I feel like I'm thinking about it all the time. But the difference is that my action backs up just thoughts, if that makes sense. Because I think when I was new in Mary Kay, I would think about it a lot, but I wasn't actually doing the income-producing activities to back up my thoughts. I was just thinking about them and not doing the income-producing part of it. So what felt like a lot of work, even though I really wasn't doing the work, if that makes sense. So, for example, IPAs are income-producing activities like getting 2 bookings a day, or doing 1 interview, or doing 1 party, or 3 faces, stuff like that, okay? Because just thinking about it doesn't do us a whole lot of good unless we're doing one of those things I just said. So I needed to get into action, like real toe-to-toe. Mary Kay taught us to be toe-to-toe with women. Toe-to-toe means you're having coffee with her and telling her about the business opportunity. You're toe-to-toe with her, and she's applying the makeup right in front of you, if that makes sense. So the best work we can do in Mary Kay is toe-to-toe. Don't you guys agree? It's sitting right there with the women right in front of us. So my focus was to be toe-to-toe with more women than I've ever been before. And this month of November has to be true for that too, for myself, for my personal business. So I am really focusing on getting more appointments booked so that I can say that's true. Okay, so for example, what was I telling you guys? I left a Voxer on this last week, but I know I made at least 20 phone calls in one day, and I think I got about 4 appointments booked. And I was going back through old leads. Like, look at this. These are super old. It just says call. So I get all these leads, and they're all, look at this. This is like a complete mess, right? But I'm going to organize it. Tomorrow, they're all going to get calls from me. So it's all like binder clipped because they're all individually from different events I've done over the years. Some of these are very, very old. Here, I can't even like take them apart. Okay, so it's like 2 together and 2 together. I don't even know. Okay, so here's the coolest part is, oops, okay, Google Voice I use, right? So I don't remember exactly how I met all these people individually, but I did at the moment when I met them. But each of these are in my Google Voice, and in there says, you know, hi, this is Stephanie with Mary Kay. I met you at, or whatever your name was. These are facial box leads too, some of these. So some of these are events, some are facial boxes. Who knows? I can put in that phone number and look her up and see every conversation I've ever had. I can see every phone call I've ever made. I love Google Voice because I can see literally everything connected to this phone number. Okay? So even though they're a year old, how I'm still using these leads is I can call them up. Her name's Joy. So I could say, hey, Joy, this is Stephanie. I selected your name from a facial box almost a year ago, and I feel so bad. We never set a date that first time. Our schedules were crazy when I called you, and I wanted to see if now was a better time to reach you. I was cleaning out my desk, and I ran across your name. Do you remember signing up about a year ago, or do you remember meeting me at the event about a year ago? And see what she says, okay? And we kind of have a conversation from there out. Sometimes I just say I'm literally cleaning out my desk, because that's kind of actually the truth right now. I'm going through every lead from a year ago or more. Some of these are even older, and they're booking. So I'm giving you hope here. Like, don't throw away leads. They will still book. There was probably a reason we didn't pick a date at that moment in their life, but that I'm going back through and cleaning out all my leads. Okay, so this is like a huge stack tomorrow. I don't know how many numbers I'll have to tell you. They're all going to be called tomorrow. Okay. Another thing is, I want to talk to you about referrals. So this is somebody I facialed today. Her name's Samantha, and she gave me names and numbers. Yes. So I text these twice, and then I call them on the third attempt. Got it. Okay. So I am finding that I blow through the text messages super fast on these, and that I'm calling people really quickly because they're not always responding to the text messages as quickly as they used to. So I'm actually having really good results with calling. So here's what I would say if you want to hear like what I would say. Okay, so this is Samantha, and her first person's name is Becky. Okay, so I'm calling. Becky answers, hey Becky, this is Stephanie. I am friends with Samantha, and she thought of you today. She actually wrote you down as someone who might enjoy a free pampering package with me. Have you ever won a pampering package before? She'll say yes or no. Oh, great, okay. I'm with Mary Kay. Are you familiar with that line of products? She'll say yes or no. Great, those are the products I use on your free facial and makeover. Now, it takes about 1 hour for your free pampering package. Would a weeknight or weekend be better for you? So a lot of you may have already picked up on the fact that I did not ask her whether or not she was interested. I also didn't ask a yes or no question. And that is the key to how I've had that conversation already. So I'll keep going, but really the beginning of it's just, hey, I'm friends with Samantha. She gifted you a free pampering package. And okay, she gets you. It takes about 1 hour. Is a weeknight or weekend better for you? And then all of a sudden you kind of catch her off guard. She's like, oh, I guess I'm saying yes, a weeknight. And then we keep having the conversation. Okay, weeknight, great. Is a Monday or a Tuesday better? Perfect, Tuesday. Do you think like 6 or 6:30? What are your thoughts? You know, and you just keep going until you get a date and a time. And so that part's pretty easy, yeah? So just telling her how you know her. So I say, hey, Becky, I'm friends with Samantha. She gifted you a free pampering package. Have you ever won anything like this before? And the answer almost 99% of the time is no. They've never been gifted a pampering package before. So I'll explain to her after I pick a date. So here's the key. Same when I'm texting is I won't tell Becky that she has to invite friends until after I've picked the date. So she's picked Tuesday at 6:30. Great. Have you in my date book? I have your address. I have your phone number. I will send you a postcard in the mail with my information on it. I have the cute Mary Kay postcard, so I send one of those out that day so she can put it on her fridge and remember who I am. And then I tell her, I'm like, guess what, Becky? Little bonus here is the pampering package you won includes you and 3 girlfriends over 18 to get free makeovers together. How does that sound? She's like, really? I'm like, well, yeah. Then you can do this with some girlfriends. Now, you don't have to. I'm going to come over no matter what. But it is really fun if you can find a couple of girlfriends that you think might enjoy this with you. And that's it. And then I say, okay, I'll see you next Tuesday at 6:30. Call me if you have any questions. Okay? So it's a pretty quick conversation. I don't feel like you need to spend a ton of time on it. Probably 5 minutes. Okay. All right, so I want you guys to unmute and ask me questions about scripts and words to use when booking, or what have you guys heard? Because if you can give me some examples, we can do some dialogue right now. Like if you want to be a pretend person, I'll book you right now. So unmute.
I am. I don't know what to ask.
What else do you guys hear from people when you're making phone calls?
I'm too busy.
I'm too busy. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's a good one. Okay, so let's say I'm talking to Becky and she says, "Oh, I'm too busy right now." I'll be like, "Okay, I am in a huge challenge to facial 30 women this month, to pamper 30 women this month. Do you think there's any chance we can still meet in the month of November?" Say yes or no, I don't care.
Maybe.
Okay, so even if we can find a date, even the last day of the month helps me. That's how cool this is. I will double your gift certificate or double your gift if you're willing to help me in November, because I need the help that bad. If you're willing to help me. And if not, if December, that's great too. It still helps me for sure. And I'd love to still pamper you. I like to find a date and pencil it in, if you're okay with that. And then you can go check with your girlfriends, and I'll check in with you in 2 days. Okay? So I use a pencil to put your date in that we pick, so that if you find out your girlfriends can't make it, then I'll switch the date. I think they need to know you're just penciling it in.
What
Mhm.
is,
Mom?
did you say double? Double your, like if you were to,
Oh, double your gifts. Yeah. Well, it depends how bad I want the party. But
okay,
yeah,
like if you're full and you're so close to your goal.
yeah, so instead of like a $10 gift certificate, if she's willing to help me, I'll do 20.
Okay.
And sometimes I just say I'll double your gift. So it could also be like, instead of like, sometimes I just give the mini satin hand cream. I'll give her that and like an eyeshadow, or I'll give her 2 gifts instead of 1. So, if that makes sense. So, yeah. Throw in something extra for her. It's got, they're like, well, what's in it for me, right? Because she's helping me by doing the appointment, and I tell her that, but then in order for her to hold the party, there's got to be something in it for her. Yeah. Then she'll actually hold it too. Not only will she book it, but then she'll actually make sure that it holds. She'll convince her friends to come if there's enough in it for her. Which usually the word FREE speaks loudly to most women. So give her something for free. Yeah. All right, so they're too busy. So the key there, Stacey, that's a good one, is asking her if you can pencil a date in. Because the one I hear the most common is Becky. When I was booking her just now, she'll tell me that she needs to go and ask her friends, right? I need to ask my 5 closest girlfriends. What happens if you go and ask 5 friends for 5 dates? Or what happens if you ask them when they're free, right? You're going to get 5 different dates. Yes, you will. That's not going to happen. Right. So what I actually tell her that on the phone. She'll be like, "Oh, I'm just going to ask my friends." I'm like, "No, you're not." Because if you do, then you're going to get 5 different dates, and then I'm never going to see you. So how about you pick one that works for you, and then hopefully 1 or 2 out of the 5 can come. Now, if one of the 2 out of the 5 can't, if like nobody can come, then we'll definitely pick a new date for sure. But does that kind of make sense? So, because I hear that a lot too, like, "Oh, I'm gonna check with my friends," because as soon as you tell her she can have girlfriends, then she's like, "Oh, now I gotta talk to my girlfriends. I'm gonna find out. I'll get back to you," she says. You're like, "No." First of all, that's our job, right? So we'll get back. We'll call her. How about I check in with you in 2 days? So can I call you on Tuesday? And she'll say yes or no. And then right there in my date book, I'm already writing down, "Call Becky on Tuesday." Okay, our guest is trying to get on now. Hang on 1 second. Angeline, how do we add Sheila to our... You get 15 minutes with Sheila. Hold on. I thought I learned how to add someone. Let's see. Oh, here we go. All right, are you guys thinking of more questions for me? Let's see here. Hey, Angeline, are you there? Angeline, can you send me the link to Facebook for our new Hangout for her?
I already updated the Facebook link. That is the new one.
Okay, let me get that for her.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we were talking through scripts. What else do you guys hear from people while you're making booking calls?
I just sent her an invite to the profile that I found too.
Okay. Okay. What else do you? Oh, okay. Let's see. Sheila says she can hear and see me, but I can't hear Sheila. Do you guys see her?
Nope.
Hmm. It's like she's invisible. All right, stay tuned. We'll keep going. She's on, but do you think she's on the old one, Angeline? Like the old? I sent her the new link, but too funny. Okay. Let's keep going on bookings because I feel like you have names and numbers, then getting the courage to have the right words of what to say, right? So when I was new in Mary Kay, I used a lot of scripts, and although you can feel silly using them when you're new, like you're not sure why you have to use scripts, they're there because they've been proven to work before, because they've been written by successful people in Mary Kay. And so try and remember that too as you're using the words, because it might seem silly to say them when you're just speaking like canned scripts. But people pay a lot of money, and we found out it was kind of funny. We were talking with people in other industries that have to go to these like special trainings because they're in the sales world, just scripts. They go to like these $5,000 conferences that their companies pay them to go to learn the right words to say. And so, you know what I love about Mary Kay is that it is a skills-based business, and that anyone can learn the skill to do Mary Kay. That it's very equal in how we learn and play in the field of Mary Kay. That it's skills, and the people that move to the top the quickest in Mary Kay are just those that have learned the skills fastest. They've learned something and then they apply the skill. And you know, like everything's a skill. Booking a party is a skill. Holding a party is a skill. Booking an interview is a skill, and then holding the interview is a skill. There's like all these skills, and so just learning what they are and then refining. So if you think, like, oh, I'm getting really good at booking parties, then you've mastered that skill. Like where the words just, I've spoken these scripts for so many years that I can just rattle them off because I've memorized almost every script that I use. And you'll find your favorite too. I know Lisa Madson's website has a lot of scripts. That's where I've probably pulled a lot of them. I'm trying to think of where else I found scripts, but I have so many. If you ever need one, let me know because I have a script for literally everything you can think of. Booking restaurants for restaurant promotions, putting facial boxes out, calling men for Christmas coming up. We'll need scripts for that. Calling businesses for Christmas. Gosh, everything. There's a script for everything, and it's a starting point. You still want to make it yours. But I feel like those scripts are out there to give you the words to say because we know they work. So if you just started making scripts up to book appointments, you might sound something like this, like, "Hey, this is Stephanie," and when you don't have a script, you tend to rattle. I talk a lot when I just keep rattling off. So I do Mary Kay, and I am giving you a free facial from my friend Samantha, who I just facialed yesterday. And she thought you might like it, and would you like a free makeover? And then she's like, no.
Hey, Stephanie.
Yes.
Check in the group chat and tell me if that's the link that you sent her.
Okay. Let me figure out how to do the group chat. It was whatever one you just put in the Facebook comment of our event.
The one that ended in 6MA.
Let me look. Yes, I think you're right. Yes. Is that the right one?
That is the right one. Make sure she's opening that link on a laptop, because if it's on her phone, she has to go through the other way.
Okay.
That might be why.
Okay. Okay, cool. How do I group chat, she says.
She said, how do I group chat?
Yeah.
Because I just tried the link and it opens up to the video.
Okay. So if she can hear you talking, what does that mean? That means she's on. Why can't she see us? Does that make sense?
I know there was a screen before you joined the video where you had to press the OK, I got it button, and then you actually joined the video.
Okay.
I don't know if she's on that screen, maybe? Let me see if you see her.
Because it doesn't say she's on. That's like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
We have one viewer, so there's one person that's not logged on that we can see, but they can see us.
Okay.
That might be her.
Okay. I recenter the new one we got. Okay. We'll figure this out eventually. But I want you guys to take something from this call. First, tracking our numbers, the importance of that. I think the longer I was in Mary Kay, the more I understood the importance of tracking, and that I wasn't going to fight it anymore because I don't love to track my numbers, but it proves, your work, and that you can only improve on yourself when you track something. So that was very important. And related to that is tracking number of phone calls you make, and having phone calls to make, and then of course the results. So I'll keep you guys posted. This is 14 names and numbers, and I'll tell you how many parties I got out of this. Okay? And if you call 14 numbers tomorrow, take a look and see what your results are on this. Okay? Because usually what I do is I'll put like a star, or if they say no, then I just cross their name off. Okay? You know what's cool about Samantha? She is one of the realtors that I emailed to do like baskets with, right? That we talked about, that you can do baskets when they buy a new house. And we just set that up, and she buys baskets when she sells houses, and that's awesome. But I had never offered her a free makeover before, so that's how we got together for that. So kind of cool. I found Samantha out of the newspaper, and it just said she was brand new to the fall. She's a brand new agent, and it was like welcoming her, and then it was an ad for Shore West. She works for Shore West, and so that was kind of cool. So I just sent her the email that you guys all have a copy of from me. Sent it to her saying, "Oh my gosh, you know, great news! Your name just came across my desk in the newspaper. Congratulations!" And so, anyways, okay.
I don't know why it's not working.
I don't know why it's not working.
I don't know either. That's okay. We're making the best of it, aren't we? Okay, so Facebook, also great for setting up appointments as well. So I was messaging friends of friends, and I got some good responses from, like, let's say you and I had 5 mutual friends, but we weren't friends yet. I would message you and say, you know, oh my gosh, we have so many mutual friends, and I would love your help, and see if she would be interested in a free makeover. And usually they say yes. So I usually pick people that I already have a lot of mutual friends with, and that was working well. I sent about 100 messages out to people that I had mutual friends with, and I got like 5 yeses. So that's pretty good. It didn't take, I just copied and pasted a message that said, oh, we have a lot of mutual friends, you know, blah, blah, blah. So that kind of makes sense. So that's another idea. If you're at home in your PJs, you can message people that you have mutual friends with.
Do you find text works the best?
Text works the best for like these, or what kind of leads?
To actually, like when you talked about contacting your realtor, was that a text or a phone call?
No, that was an email. The email
Uh,
I sent out to the team, it's like a canned message.
okay, I forget about email anymore. Thank you.
Yeah. So I really had good luck with the email to them, because in the ad where it said like welcome Samantha, I mean, I think it had her number in there, but it always has their email listed, so that's how I sent it to them.
One thing I noticed is that InTouch took away our blank stationery, and I really miss it.
No, it's still there. There's 4 of them now, though, instead of like.
Yeah, there used to be a billion where you could pick out, because now it says it's either summer, fall, spring, and yep, you understand what I'm saying, don't you?
Yeah.
And now I have to only use like winter looking stationery. If there's anything you can do about that, Stephanie.
Okay. Put a good
Um,
word in. Yeah, I know what you're talking
so
about.
I'll just go back and just use good old fashioned, email like that.
Yeah, because those people that I'm finding out of the newspaper that I'm contacting like that, I don't know, so they're just using my regular email anyways. I wouldn't go through InTouch for any of that.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I put them in. I make sure they don't mind if I sign them up to be on the professional looking, kind of stationery. But like I said, now they don't let us do that. So I'll just go back to using plain. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I mean, you can make your signature cool of your regular email, and I sent to get Samantha. I probably sent about 20 of those emails out in a week, and I got two that replied back to have coffee with me. So that would
Okay.
be a not a great use of time to put them in on In Touch when only like two respond, you know.
Isn't that
So
funny? And I probably don't have them in my regular email, so I'll have to double up, I guess.
well, you wouldn't, so you don't add any of these people to anything. You're just sending like blasts of emails out. So all I do is just type their email in the two. They're not a contact. I don't want to save any of these people to anything because I'll probably never hear from them.
Sure.
So these are just people I read in a newspaper and send an email to. I have
Oh,
no
the
idea who they are.
okay. The people I'm talking about, I actually know. Okay, gotcha. All right.
Okay. Yeah, still use the stationery in Mary Kate In Touch for all of that. Don't put them in your regular email because that's actually against Mary Kay rules
Okay.
because they need to be able to unsubscribe and they cannot unsubscribe from your charter email like Gmail, Hotmail. They can't.
You're right.
That's why you have to go. Yeah, you
Okay.
have to go through Mary Kay for that. Yeah, it's a good question. So, like for their birthday month, they get 20% off their birthday month, right? So on November 1st, on my 6 most important things to do list is to send the November e-card to every person that has a November birthday. They get the 20% off email from me, and then they get one on the 28th of the month too, saying, reminder, don't forget to use your 20% off. So they get 2 e-cards a month from me if it's their birthday already, plus any other ones I'm sending out. So those all go through In Touch. And yeah, I use the generic ones that they gave us now. They took away, I don't know, maybe they're coming out with better ones. I don't know. When I go to leadership in January, I can totally find out. So, so use what's out there, yeah. How do we get talking about this? Preferred method of contact. Yeah. So I guess if you're doing like networking or Mary Kay business, so let's say I used to go to a lot of networking events like Chamber of Commerce or oh, I went over our time. Sorry, I'll finish my sentence and we'll finish tonight. What was I saying? Oh, Chamber of Commerce or any like networking events where like I did that breakfast that morning. There was like a Menominee Falls business breakfast, and then you go and you hand out your business card and they hand you theirs, and I come home with a stack of business cards from those events. And the same thing, I'll send an email afterwards saying it was so great to meet you. I look forward to partnering up in the future and blah, blah, blah. So, but I still keep those business cards. I have a thing in my office that I put all those in and how I met them and where I met them on the back. I write on the back of their cards. So same thing. I always have them there, but I don't save them in my contacts. But that way. Oh,
I think Stephanie got invited to another call with Sheila because I just got it too.
Me too.
And I don't know what it was because when I clicked on it, it's like, you're already in the call. And I was like, okay. So it's 9 o'clock. So I think we can call it. And we can always do something else later. So thanks everybody for coming, and we'll see some of you on Thursday. Sharon, we miss you. We'll see you soon, though. Mwah. Bye. Bye, April. Bye, Stacy. Bye, Katie.
Bye.